Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jason Lore with Jason Lore Photography and Films, bringing you art stories and entertainment. So, coming back at you guys with another movie review. Last review that I did was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So, if you guys haven't seen that one yet, definitely check it out. It's still in theaters. Uh, it's January 2019 right now, and so if you guys haven't seen it, I definitely recommend you guys see it at the movie theater and get that surround sound and big screen experience. So, anyways, so the next movie that I'm gonna be reviewing is Aquaman. Now, this is the new Aquaman movie that just came out in 2018, same time as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So, this was like December 2018, so not too far away as well. So still fairly new out in theaters, and so okay, from what I've heard before watching this movie is that it's a lot of fun and there's a lot of action, like a lot of action. So it's like that's what you're gonna be seeing a lot from beginning, middle, and end. Is just Aquaman and a whole bunch of other people like just kicking a whole lot of ass. And I just had to say it because there was a lot of ass kicking in that movie. And um, it's interesting because I never knew much about Aquaman. All I know is that he can, talk to fishes or just whatever is like, yeah, pretty much like a sea creature, I guess you can say. So that about covers everything in the ocean. So, a lot of people say he is quite possibly the most useless hero in the Justice League. But in this movie, you just come to learn just how powerful Aquaman can be, both in the seas and out in land. So he's not just kicking butt out in the ocean, which is where his element is, but he's also got like superhuman strength to beat the crap out of like a whole bunch of people on land. So if you watch Justice League as well, this is the Justice League movie that came out in 2017. Like he did kick a whole lot of butt. I mean, uh, you don't get much origin stories from the Justice League movie about Aquaman, but you do get to see just what he's capable of on land. So this one just shows like just where he got all of his training from and how he came to be. In fact, for those of you who have or actually haven't seen the Justice League movie, you don't really have to follow much of that to understand this one because there is a, um, well, not really much of a connection, but there's a mention of like how Aquaman helped defeated Steppenwolf, who is the main antagonist for the Justice League movie, and so that just lets us know that okay, this is taking place after the Justice League movie. But for me, I think this is the part where it does delve a little bit deeper into like his past and how he came to be. In fact, you learn that right at the beginning of the movie of how his mom, who is the queen of Atlantis, ends up on the shore and falls in love with his dad, and they have a baby together, and that baby was Aquaman or Arthur as they named him, and supposedly he is going to bring about peace between the humans who are on land and all the Atlanteans in the sea because apparently they have like an issue with each other. So yeah, that's pretty much like destiny right there happening. And um anyways, so yeah, pretty much the whole story is Arthur coming to accept his destiny, which is becoming the king of Atlantis, which is pretty much by rights, because he is heir to the throne, but his half brother, King Orm, is actually yeah, he's actually kind of a more more aggressive and tougher kind of ruler who believes that there's no way both the land and the sea can coexist with each other. By land and sea, like the humans and the Atlanteans, there's no way they can coexist with each other. So he's finding ways of waging war against the humans because of all the things that they've done. And the crazy part about it is like, he's absolutely right. There was a scene in the movie where he just launches a huge tsunami towards the to land, like the beaches and all. And the next thing you know is you see on the news report of like just how so many like trash, garbage, ship wreckage that were all washed or thrown into the sea by all the humans. And it just goes to show that we've actually done a lot of damage to the ocean. And it's just a message saying that enough is enough. It's like it's on. So now that's where Aquaman comes in. He's there to fulfill his destiny, as his mom said, is like bringing peace between both the land and the sea. So he foolishly challenges King Orm, his half brother, to a fight for the throne, which of course he wasn't ready for. Definitely I won't go into too much details of the fight, but it's a really good fight scene too between him and King Orm. So that part I know you guys will enjoy. Of course, he wasn't ready, and the only way he could not only defeat King Orm but also take his place as the rightful ruler of Atlantis is by finding it's like an ancient trident which belonged to an old king of Atlantis. But the thing is that the the king what's the word pretty much exiled himself because of something that he did wrong to Atlantis. Basically, long story short, he was responsible for Atlantis sinking into the ocean before it ended up in the ocean. So he exiled himself far away in the far reaches of the seven seas. So he did leave clues and a map of how he can be found, along with the Triton that, as prophesied, will be claimed by the one true king. And so Aquaman, along with his friend, what's his name, Mira, they go on a journey, traveling the world and through the many oceans to find this one trident. So that way, Aquaman can become the rightful king. And there comes more action along the way, and you see a lot more threats along the way. And one of them is Aquaman's old arch nemesis, which is Black Manta. So for those of you who read the comic book series, you know just how serious Black Manta can be. He's kind of like an assassin slash mercenary in this film. And the person playing as Black Manta, he did a really good job at it as well. I could have sworn he was like a football player, but it turns out to be an actor too. He's known for a few appearances from some TV shows and some movies. So he did a good job being as Black Manta. He did give Aquaman a good fight for his money. And it just goes to show like just how dangerous being a superhero can be because of the the threats that come with it. So so after having to fight through all that, he starts to learn the importance of why he needs to be king and why he needs to accept his destiny of being that one true king to save not just his people of Atlantis, but also the people that he cares about in the land too. So like his friends and his father, everything all comes down to him at this point. And so just all the fighting and all the struggles, it's all to save everybody. And you come to learn just how important it is, and he's got to step up his game, which he totally does. And that's what makes him such an interesting character to follow too, an interesting hero to follow actually, because just like all of us, we struggle in life as far as like trying to figure out what our purpose is. And for Aquaman's situation, his purpose is to become the king and to save everyone. And so I'm gonna stop the story right there. I've already said a little too much about how far it goes, but like I said, there's a lot of action in this movie. There's a lot of interesting characters that you can come across with just watching this film. Like I said, it's like you don't have to, have seen Justice League, the movie, or you don't even have to read the comic books to see what kind of person Aquaman is. I would say if you were to watch the movie by itself, it's actually a really good movie. And my recommendation is like don't try to compare it to the comic books, because it's not like the classic comic books that you read about when you were kids or you seen at the comic book store. It's like honestly, it's like its own movie, and filled with fun and action, and just enjoy it. I know I did. I know even surprisingly, after like a month later, once the movie was over, everybody in the theater were all clapping their hands and like just rooting for Aquaman. As soon as like you just see that final image of Aquaman in triumph. So yeah. So do I recommend watching this movie? Absolutely, and I would do it while it's still in theater. I mean, IMAX if you can too, because just the ocean world that you're introduced to, like Atlantis. It's like it's just extremely beautiful, and like just the portrayal of like what Atlantis looks like, and also just seeing Aquaman kicking a whole bunch of asses in this movie was pretty awesome. And again, it's like he goes from what people would call the most useless superhero to the most epic superhero. So yeah, definitely check him out. He's still in theaters right now. It's January 2019, and it's only been like a month. But right now, if you're listening to this podcast, you can look up just Aquaman. Like right now, it's like number one at the box office, and shoot, he is just even kicking butt in the box office too. So it's amazing. Yeah, I had a really good time. I ended up going with my nephew. Like I said, I went and saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse early in the morning, and then I met up with my nephew, and we were supposed to go watch Aquaman together, and that was the only time we had to go. So we ended up going a few hours after Into the Spider-Verse. So yeah, so two movies in one day. I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, like I said, it's nothing that you can watch at home and experience. You can definitely like get like the full on, like just like submerging into like that whole universe of Aquaman. And I think like a lot of people who don't know who Aquaman is will now be a lot more interested in knowing more about him. And surely enough, I believe there's going to be a sequel. If not, probably another appearance in the next Justice League movie. But at least now we get an idea of like who Aquaman is and like what kind of person he is. And so uh yeah, definitely definitely check him out. Uh, Aquaman now in theaters, in a theater near you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hope it gave you guys an idea of what to expect from Aquaman, and I hope you guys enjoyed the movie just as I did. But until next time, this is Jason Lore with Jason Lore Photography and Films, bringing you art, stories, and entertainment.